Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu says the Commission has no plan to postpone the 2019 elections as he meets with National Assembly committees on electoral matters. Israel's Deputy Chief of Mission, Nadav Goran, expresses confidence in Nigeria's ability to conduct credible elections come 2019. Kaduna State House of Assembly declares seat of former Deputy Speaker John Patul vacant following his defection from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the opposition PDP. An Italian Prime Minister declares a 12-month state of emergency in the Liguria region following motorway bridge collapse, which has claimed over 39 lives.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's headline inflation declines further to 11.14% in July, which is its lowest rate in more than 2 years.
And on sports news tonight, Super Eagles forward Victor Moses announces his retirement from international football to focus on his family and club career.
And from Abuja, Federal Executive Council approves review of Enugu-Onitsha road contract, orders completion of project abandoned since 2012.
We begin tonight with the comments from the National Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission ahead of preparations for the 2019 general elections. Professor Mahmood Yakubu says an increase in the number of registered voters and political parties are some of the factors causing the hike in the cost of the 2019 elections. The electoral umpire also disclosed that the Commission is not contemplating postponement of the elections and have not factored that in the budget. He was speaking to committees of the National Assembly during the defense of budget for the 2019 general elections. Our correspondent Linda Akibe reports.
The chairman of electoral body INEC, national commissioners and officials of the commission arriving for the budget defense session in the House of Representatives. They are meeting with the House Committee on Electoral and Political Matters to defend the over 189 billion naira budget proposed for the 2019 general elections.
Our elections is not actually...
The INEC chairman outlines some of the factors which have led to an increase of 69 billion naira, more than the 120 billion naira spent on the 2015 general election.
The first one is you plan an election on the basis of the total number of voters on the register. It was 70 million in 2015. It is now 82 million. The 70 million from 2015 plus the continuous voter registration exercise that led to the addition of new registrants of so far 12.1 million, and that takes us to 82 million registered voters. And it's not over yet, because we have just extended the continuous voter registration to the end of this month. So I'm sure the number is going to go higher. Secondly, you propose a budget on the basis of the number of political parties we have. There is no provision for independent candidacy under our laws. So anybody contesting an election must be sponsored by a political party. We have 91 political parties. With 91 political parties, certainly the size of the ballot paper is going to increase.
Examining the major activities in the 2019 general election budget proposal, printing of ballot papers is to cost 31.49 billion naira, printing of result sheets 4.356 billion, security at elections 1.866 billion, monitoring party congresses and primaries 630 million, campaign finance tracking and reporting 160 million, prosecution of electoral offences 25 million naira.
Publicity for it.
According to the electoral umpire, the cost for the coming election is, however, not the highest compared to other countries.
If you denominate the entire cost in dollar terms, and that is what is used globally as a benchmark for determining cost of elections, our elections is not actually the most expensive. Even in the context of Nigeria, in the context of our sub-region, in the context of our region, Africa, and perhaps also in the context of emerging or developing democracies worldwide.
The lawmakers raised some concerns like the feeding of security officials and the possible cost implication of the election being postponed.
So we made a simple provision of 1,000 naira per token per security personnel for election, but because of the number, it comes up to the figure that it has come to. It's simply unimaginable that our own ad hoc staff will be eating, while the police that are supposed to protect our staff and the processes are just looking at us. We don't envisage any postponement of the election. Honestly, we have not even taken that into consideration at all.
The INEC chairman also met with the Senate Committee on INEC to examine the Commission's budget for the 2019 elections. A member of the committee raised an issue of a conflict of request as regards the amount proposed by the President and that of INEC.
You are presenting to this committee a request, or you're making a budget estimate of 189 billion. Meanwhile, Mr. President is asking for 143 billion. So which of these two estimates do you suggest that this committee should consider?
INEC requested for 189 billion.
Yes.
The executive requested for exactly the amount that INEC asked for, only that it has come in two components.
Yes.
2018 and 2019. So there is no conflict between what is submitted by the executive and what is proposed by INEC.
The discussions with the INEC chairman would likely continue to resolve issues surrounding funding the 2019 general elections. Time is of the essence as elections are 184 days away. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the registration of more political parties by INEC may be a welcome development for some Nigerians, but for others it appears to be a joke taken too far. That's how a professor of international law, Akin Oyebode, has described the decision by the nation's electoral umpire. Professor Oyebode, who was a guest on our breakfast program Sunrise Daily, suggested a tinkering with the Electoral Act to put a cap on the number of political parties in Nigeria.
91, as I said, is an absurdity. Maybe when they get to 200, they will stop or something. But it has neither rhythm nor style. What point is INEC trying to prove? And you can't blame INEC. You look at the Electoral Act, because the way we fashioned our laws has not restricted all sorts of comedians and comics from throwing their hearts into the ring. In other systems that we know of, you might put a minimum that a party should score in an election in order to continue to be relevant. Maybe 5%, 2%. Now it's an all-comers game, and when or where is it going to stop? We have to redo our laws, electoral laws, to exclude parties that have little or no following, no followership, like you said. There was a time in this country when people said, the more the merrier. Let us have a political contestation of many parties. Even in England, you have raving lunatics forming a party, but nobody takes them seriously, okay? And in the United States, by the way, it's not just the Democrats and the Republicans. There are other parties, what you call fringe parties. What we need to do is to separate the wheat from the chaff. Let us know parties that have a following. Minimum prescribe certain criterion for them for recognition. If you fail to get 5% or whatever votes, then you lose your registration.
And staying with election matters, the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Israeli Embassy, Mr. Nadav Goren, is hoping that Nigeria can conduct a peaceful general election in 2019, as it did in 2015. Mr. Goren observed that against all expectations in 2015, Nigeria conducted a peaceful election, and he wants Nigerians to have faith in the electoral system and play an active role in the process. He was speaking to Channels Television during a courtesy visit to the station's regional headquarters in Abuja.
We go back to 2015, we're a great example of how Nigeria took the responsibility and took a leadership position. And contrary to what many people thought on the ground, and I was here talking to different diplomats from different missions, had a peaceful transition of government. And I draw upon that experience for the next election. So I think that most important is that these next elections be peaceful and without violence. And I believe that that's how it will be. I was here on the ground, I saw it happen, and I believe it will happen again. Otherwise, I think media has a big job. Traditional media, social media, having the people involved in the process, having the people know about the process, having it be transparent, and so and I think that has come a long way if you look at it, and so I'm pretty hopeful. I think that Israel is a strong democracy in the region. We pride ourselves in how we treat minorities and how we follow the democratic process, whether it be press, whether it be human rights, and that's what I would like to see in Nigeria. I see it. I would like to see more.
In Kaduna State, lawmakers in the State House of Assembly have declared vacant the seats of the immediate past Deputy Speaker of the House, John Kwaturu, and another member representing Kudan constituency, Yakubu Junaidu. The two lawmakers had defected from the ruling APC to the People's Democratic Party last week, alleging division and impunity in the party. During plenary today, the Speaker, Aminu Shagala, cited Section 109, subsection 1G of the 1999 Constitution as grounds upon which elected public officials can move from one party to another. He declared the seats of the two lawmakers vacant, saying there is no crisis in the APC that could have warranted their defection to another political party. The conversation surrounding restructuring is still very much in the air, and the Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has added his voice to the discourse. He insists that there is the need for Nigeria to remain united, irrespective of the challenge it's facing, bearing in mind the importance of restructuring, which he says allows states to explore the best of their abilities. He was addressing some PDP members who were at the Government House on an official visit to the state. One of the guests, who is also a presidential aspirant on the platform of the PDP, Taminu Turaki, asked Nigerian leaders to focus more on creating the right environment for security agencies to perform their statutory duties effectively.
Restructuring creates a kind of healthy competition among the regional units. Restructuring creates an opportunity for people to indeed just turn back and look at the very best they've got. Restructuring to allow some bit of independence, to allow states to exploit to the best of their ability all their resources within the dictates and confines of federal law, to allow them to exploit their resources, particularly resources that are time sensitive, that will soon become old-fashioned. The greatest asset of a nation is knowledge, it's not the natural resource. We have learned that from Japan, we have learned that from China. We must practice isolationism and protectionism. Nigeria must learn to protect our borders, enclose ourselves, and deny ourselves the luxury of today's comfort from inherited countries.
Because of this dynamism in the society, what may work yesterday may not work today, and what is working today may not work tomorrow. And that is why life is susceptible to change. And in the course of this change, it's important that there are certain very critical and fundamental issues that have to be addressed. Issues of justice, issues of fairness. And this brings me to the issue of restructuring Nigeria. And what is it that has been inhibiting our proper restructuring of our country, our federation? Your Excellency, is our laws, including our Constitution.
In part two, after the break, participants at Lagos Forensic Symposium brainstorm on benefits of DNA applications, crime scene investigation and sustainability issues in forensics. That's in a moment. The States.